what we're going to be doing, I'll copy the link in the chat for you, Stephanie. There we go. So we're going to look at this TV411. I don't know if I've used any of this stuff with you guys. I know I have for some of my other classes. But I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we'll jump into it, and we're just going to go through this together. It's just an editing checklist. I know that you guys turned your rough drafts in on Sunday, and Heather did email me today and let me know that she's going to be working on them and getting them back to you, and that your final copy is due November 21st, I believe. So, yep, okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. So, yeah, so we're going to take a look today, and I know you said you're not going to be here, Stephanie, and I haven't finished the assignment yet, so I haven't posted it. But tomorrow we're going to today we're going to look at editing, and that's going to be mostly like the writing mechanics, like capitalization, punctuation, things of that nature. And then tomorrow we're going to look at revision, so we're going to look more at kind of the structure and all of that, like the order of the body paragraphs and some different arguments, because that is a little more subjective and there's some different ways you can do it. Some people like to put the strongest point first. Some people like to put the strongest point at the end. So that's what we're going to look at tomorrow. I don't have that all together, but I will have that posted for you since you have your appointment. But today we're going to go over an editing checklist that is going to be more of that traditional grammar stuff, like I said, as well as sentence structure. And there's one where I have a misplaced sentence in my example, because that was something that I came across when I was editing one of your guys's. That was something, there was some sentences that were kind of out of place to me or not related to the main topic, because, you know, we want each body paragraph to have one main topic. So there's going to be an example of that in today's as well. So I'm going to go through the checklist online. We're going to do that together, and then I'll go over the assignment, which is, so that essay that I did my example for you guys last time, I took that and added a bunch of these mistakes. Hi, Diamond. And so I added a bunch of mistakes to 2 of my paragraphs, and then I saved that as a PDF. So you guys cannot just, you know, use the Google autocorrect on it, spell check and everything like that. So you're going to actually have to edit it and retype it so you can practice some typing and editing. And that is all we're going to do for today. So right now we're going to just jump into it. I'll share my screen. Okay, can you guys see my screen? Yes, okay, good. I just wanted to make sure. All right, so the first one, we're going to be looking at this letter over here. So when you edit your writing, a good first step is to check the punctuation, right? And that is our ending marks and, you know, periods, question marks, exclamation points. Those are our most common. Our most common is obviously the period, and that is probably what you guys are going to be using almost exclusively in your academic writing. So this should be pretty easy. Which fixes the mistake in line 2? So line 2, how are you? We haven't spoken in ages. So how are you? Exclamation point. How are you? Question mark. We haven't spoken in ages. This one is pretty simple. How are you? Right? That is a question. And we know that because how is our question word. How are you? All right. So You can also edit for capital letters. So now we're going to look at line 3. I'm doing well. I have a new job at the RB department store. So our capitalization issue here is with our I, right? Because this is starting off and it's in I'm would always be capitalized. The word I is always capitalized. Yep. So that includes when it's in contractions like that, like I am, I've, I'll, any of those. Okay, there's more than one capitalization error in line 6. Pick the answer that corrects them all. So it's been a while since I've seen you, but I hope we can make plans soon. Oh, and it goes down to here. Make plans soon. We're still living in New Jersey. I was a bit confused. That's like a different line, but they included in this one. Okay, so we're going to have 2 capitalization errors in this one. So as we already talked about, I is already capitalized, and we can see again we have another use of I here with I've. So we need I to be capitalized here. And then New Jersey is a state, so New Jersey needs to be capitalized. And New is not capitalized, and Jersey is also not capitalized, and those are both included in the state name, so they both need to be capitalized, just like you would capitalize your first and your last name. Okay, excuse me. At the last minute, Jim adds this sentence: my telephone number be the same. Without thinking, he made a mistake. How can you fix it? So would we change be to is? My telephone number is the same. Add an S to number. My telephone numbers be the same. Or change be to was. My telephone number was the same. Is. Yes. Thank you, Diamond. Okay. So now we have a new letter over here. We're going to read through, but first I'm going to read my question to make sure I know what we're looking for. Which lines have punctuation mistakes? Okay, so we're looking for punctuation mistakes over here. So, dear Mr. Marks, I am writing about the typing position listed in the El Paso Times last week. I have experience working in an office. I am organized and patient. Last year, I worked in a similar office and enjoy it a lot. There are people there said I worked very hard. I have included my resume for your consideration. Sincerely, Ken Chan. Okay, so we're looking for punctuation, right? I got distracted because there was some capitalization errors in there too. There was some other ones, but right now we're looking for punctuation mistakes. So I see one right here with my question mark. So that's going to be line 2. And this is just a good test taking tip. Even if I didn't know where the other punctuation error was, we're going to still go and find it. But even if I didn't know, I would know this is the right answer because that's the only answer that has 2 in it. And I know there is a punctuation mistake right here in line 2. And then right here, I am organized and patient. So again, line 4, that's the right answer. But here we have just a period in the middle of our sentence. And this is going to be a sentence fragment then, and we don't want that. Yep, line 4 should be all one sentence, and it should just have one period at the end. It doesn't need any other punctuation. Okay, we're on question 6 of 9 in this first activity. This is the same little letter over here. So now they fixed the punctuation errors. So which lines need capital letters? So line 1, there's definitely one in line 1. Or this is line 2, I'm sorry. So line 1 is good because these are all capitalized, but that is correct, right? Because this is the first word in the sentence. This is a title, which would be capitalized like Dr. or Mrs. or Miss. And then the name, which is going to be capitalized. So we have one in line 2. And again, I can use my testing tip. That's the only one that has line 2. So I know this is going to be my right answer. But again, we're going to go and find the other capitalization errors. So right here in line 3, there's one. I always needs to be capitalized. And that is the same one that is in 6 right here. Again, I is not capitalized. Okay, same letter. So now this time we're looking for verb tense. So look for words that are in present tense but should be in past tense. So change writing to wrote. I am writing about the typing position listed in the El Paso Times last week. Change enjoy to enjoyed. Where is that? Last year I worked in a similar office and enjoyed a lot. Or change experience to experienced. I have experience working in an office. So this one is not even using experienced as a verb, and we're looking for verb tense, so that should clue us off, because in this sentence, have is our verb and experience is a noun. And then we can go back between these two. So writing, I am writing about the typing position listed in the El Paso Times last week. That is right, because that is the present tense. You are currently writing. That's why you're sending the email. So that one's right. But this enjoyed last year. So this is a tip that now we're in the past. So I am, that tells us that we're in the present. Last year, that tells us that we're in the past. I worked in a similar office and enjoy it a lot. So this needs to match the other verb in our sentence. I worked in a similar office and I enjoyed it a lot. So we need to do verb tense for that one. Make it past tense. And again, last year was our clue in that sentence. All right. So now we have it with all of our corrections made. But now we're looking for spelling. Okay. And they list them over here as well, so we don't have to read through the whole thing again, but we could. Organized, people, consideration, and patient. So which one of these is misspelled? It's people, right? So if you're not sure, you can just go and check your dictionary. You can Google it, right? Use any of your devices. All right, so now we have the letter. Ken forgot to say thank you, so he adds this line. Thank you for your attention. Can you find his mistake? How would you fix it? So would you add an S to attention? Thank you for you attentions. Change you to your, thank you for your attention, or make thank you, thanks. Thanks for you attention. Your, yep, good job, Diamond, thank you. All right, so now we're on to our next activity in this little set. So this one has 3 questions, and then there's one more final activity before we are going to go over the assignment, and you guys are going to have some time to work on that. So this is about sentence fragments, right? So we have a review over here. All sentences have someone or something. They need a subject and they need a verb, right? If a sentence does not have a subject and a verb, then it's not a complete sentence. It's a sentence fragment. Okay, so we're going to go through these and identify if they have subjects and if they have verbs and if they're sentence fragments or complete sentences. So Jim and Laverne after work. So we have 2 subjects here. After work, that is not a verb. So this is not a complete sentence. Jim explained his situation. Okay, we have a subject here. Explained is our verb. It's in the past tense. This is a complete sentence. We could even have Jim explained, and that would be a complete sentence. Laverne offered to help. Yes, because we have our subject, Laverne, and we have offered. Missed his sister. So we have our verb here, missed, but we don't know our subject. Who or what missed his sister? Did the dog miss his sister? Did your friend miss his sister? In the past tense. So that one is going to be no. All right. How about this one? She moved. So this is only 2 words. She, that's our subject. Moved. Is that a verb? Is this a sentence? I would say yes, because remember up here I said we could just have Jim explained. We can just have she moved. Jim approved of his revised letter. So our subject is Jim, and we have our verb approved. So that one's a complete sentence. Bought stamps at lunch. We have bought is our verb, but again, this is like this one. We have no subject, right? We don't know who bought stamps at lunch. So this is not a complete sentence. In his jacket and scarf, Jim. So this one we have a subject, but we don't know what he's doing or what is in his jacket and scarf. So this is not a complete subject. Okay. Oh. Yeah, that one's no. I think those answers are just wrong, right? We need a verb. Yeah, so that one's no. That's a sentence fragment. And Laverne offered to help. We have our subject and our verb, so that one's yes. I think the answer key is just wrong on that one. That's a little weird. All right, this is the same thing. We'll go through this one a little bit faster because it's exactly the same as what we just did. We just have more examples, and then we have one more like this, and then we're going to go through everything put together kind of for the last activity, and then look at our assignment. So Ken in the library reading room. So we just have our subject. We know where he is. Well, we don't know what he's doing, so that one's going to be no. Ken types 75 words per minute. Yep, we have our subject, Ken, and we have the verb, what he is doing. Types. He has strong office skills. Yes, and this one, has is our verb. And he is our subject. Saw an ad for a job. No, we have a verb here, saw, but we don't know who saw. Same here, wrote a letter to the company. No, we don't know who wrote. We have our verb, well, we don't know who is performing that action. Later, he picked up his son. Yep, so this one's good because we have he, that's our subject. We don't know who it is, but it's he. We just have a pronoun, right? He picked up, picked, right? That's our verb. And then that is our prepositional phrase. So all of the others in these are prepositional phrases for the most part. That's what most of them have been. But yeah, so picked is our verb down here. So that one's good. Bought ice cream cones. Again, we don't have our subject. We don't know who is performing the action. So that is why we can't have sentence fragments, because we can't just have an action performed without someone doing it, right? That just doesn't happen. Things don't just happen randomly. It's because someone performed that action, right? So, you know, you need a person to type, to have, to see, to write, to pick, to buy, and to laugh, right? If you don't have that person, then you can't have that action happen. Last one, they laughed. So this is a complete sentence because we do have a person and an action. We have they, which is a pronoun for a group of people, typically, right? So they laughed. So we have our subject, they, and then we have laughed. Yeah, these are just marked wrong because we don't know who bought the ice cream cones. Yep, that's why I marked it no. And then they laughed because we have our subject, they, and the verb laughed. All right. So for this one, this is actually a little bit different. We are doing punctuation, right? So here is a review of our question words over here. Who, what, where, when, how, why, do, does, did. Okay, so we're going to put yes if it has the correct punctuation and no if it is incorrect. Sue told Mary she has an interview Tuesday. No, right? That is not a question. What time is her interview? Yes. What is our question word? How is she going to get there? Yes. How is our question word? What did she do to prepare? Yes. What is our question word? It took her a while, but she made a list of her past jobs. Nope. That does not have any of our question words. The office said Sue called to ask for directions. Again, no question word. How did the interview go? Yes. Thank you for your help. No. Yep, so this one starts with a question word, so it's yes. And what time is her interview? So that one is also yes. Okay, so this is the last activity. This one has 8 questions, and then we are going to go over your assignment. So all good writers check their writing for mistakes. Until you get the hang of editing, an editing checklist helps you hunt for one type of mistake at a time. So the idea of this editing checklist is instead of editing for everything at once, if you guys are not comfortable with that, if you haven't built up your skills to be able to do that at that point, then you should focus on writing during the writing process, and then focus on editing during the editing process, and do it in a way like this, where you're focusing on one aspect of your writing at a time. So we have capitals, punctuation, spelling, verb tense. So that's making sure the verb is in the right tense, like present or past tense. We have subject-verb agreement. So that's making sure if there's one subject, it's a singular verb, and if there is two subjects, that it's plural, right? And then sentence fragments, which is what we were just looking at with our subject and our verb. Okay, so now we're going to read the sentence below. What item on the checklist are you looking for when you want to decide whether a verb should be works or worked? Last year, Mary worked during summer vacation. So is this an example of capitals, punctuation, spelling, verb tense, subject-verb agreement, or sentence fragments? So this one is going to be verb tense, right? Works is present tense and worked is past tense, but we know we need past tense because we have our last year. When editing for blank, look for clues that tell you if the sentence is a question. If it's a question, it ends with a question mark. So question mark, this is our punctuation, right? That should be our dead giveaway. Question mark is a type of punctuation. When editing for blank, be sure that your sentences are not questions, be sure that your sentences that are not questions end with a period or an exclamation point. So that's also punctuation, right? Because they're saying if it's not a question, end with a period. So we have our types of punctuation down here, period, exclamation points, and question marks. And again, in your academic writing, in your research paper, you are probably exclusively, I would say 99.9% of the time, going to be only using periods. If later on, when you're more confident in your writing, you want to try to incorporate a bit of like subtle rhetorical question or humor or something like that, then maybe you can do that, but that is typically not appropriate in academic style writing. So next one, yesterday Jane visits her family. So what is the mistake? Again, yesterday is a past tense indicator. We know this happened in the past tense. So because it's tense, I know that this one, verb tense, is what is wrong here. Yesterday, Jane visits. So visits is present tense, but we need visited. When editing for blank, you would spot an error here right away. Came home last Friday. Again, you should definitely be able to spot that right away because who came home last Friday? We don't know. This is not a complete sentence. There is not a subject. Who came home last Friday? Yep. How would you rewrite it? You would say, he came home last Friday. Any pronoun, any person's name, the dog, anything like that. When you check the first letter of proper nouns, such as the names of people and places, the pronoun I, and the pronoun I, you are editing for capitals, right? Capitalization. And that's for proper nouns, people, places, I, all of that. Okay, just two more. When editing for blank, circle all the words that don't look quite right and look them up in the dictionary. So that is spelling. So again, if you guys are typing, you are probably using some kind of program that has a built-in spell check, but still that is not always going to be appropriate. Sometimes it still might give you the wrong word if you're using words that you don't really know. You might choose the wrong word when you're picking the correction, or it could give you a, you could be using a different meaning of a word that you don't want. So if there's any words that you're unsure about, it is really a good idea to just look them up really quick. And again, you know, you can just do that with a simple Google search and it will tell you how it's spelled. You know, you can even copy and paste and it will give you that definition too, so you can check that you're using it correctly. All right. And last one, when editing for blank, you would notice something wrong in the following sentence. Andy and Peter walks to their office every day. So this is our subject-verb agreement because we have a plural subject, right? Andy and Peter, but it would be walk to agree with that, right? Andy and Peter walk. If it was just one, it would be Peter walks to his office. But Andy and Peter walk to their office, right? And we know it's plural because we have two subjects and we have their. The verb walk should agree with the subjects. Yep. Okay, so that was the end of that. So now we can take a look at your assignment. Okay, so I'm going to read the instructions first. And then we will take a look at the actual paragraph that I gave you guys. And like I said, so it's in a PDF. You guys are going to have to retype it so you can really practice this editing. So read the following paragraphs attached in the PDF, edit for the following errors. So I helped you guys out. I mean, I did make it a little difficult. There are you know, quite a few things that you're going to be looking for that I want you guys to practice on. But, you know, hopefully it will be good practice. And I told you what you're going to be looking for. So there should be 2 punctuation errors, 2 capitalization errors, 2 spelling errors, 2 comma errors, 2 apostrophe errors, 2 verb tense errors, 2 subject-verb agreement errors, 2 sentence fragments, and then 1 misplaced sentence. So they didn't go over commas or apostrophes, but we did commas before a little bit, and if you guys are struggling with that, we can do a review on that tomorrow. Everything else we just went over: punctuation, capitalization, spelling, verb tense, subject verb agreement, and sentence fragments. And then the misplaced sentence, that's just what I was saying when I was editing one of the student papers. It was just something that I was noticing, that there was sentences that were not connected to that main idea of each body paragraph. And the way that we're formatting, we want our thesis, we want it to have our points that we're going to talk about, we want to have our 3 body paragraphs. You guys are doing a traditional 5-paragraph essay for this, so it's introduction, 3 body paragraphs, and conclusion. Like I said, tomorrow we're going to look more at revision of those body paragraphs, the sentences in them, moving those around, as well as moving the entire order of the paragraphs around, and some different theories of why or why not you might want to do that. But for this is all you're going to be looking for. If you need help, you can go back and relook at the lesson. And now we'll take a look at the example. So I'll just read through it, and then I will tell you guys a few things. So children should be living in homes with their parents, That is the main goal of many foster care programs. However, with increased rates of substance use and addiction, it becomes more common for children to live in foster care. The number of children, both who are currently living in foster care and who are entering the foster care system, is increasing. Substance or medication-induced psychotic disorders can be caused by illegal or illegal substances that produce hallucinations, delusions, verbal incoherence, or other psychotic behavior as a result of use or withdrawal. Both of these statistics increased by almost 10% each in the 5-year period between 2012 and 2017. This shows an overall increase in children involved in the foster care system. Not only are there increases in the overall foster care population, but there are increases in the number of children who are in foster care due to being removed from parental care for parental drug use. In 2000, 15% of removals is due to parental drug use. By 2017, this number had raises to almost 40%. This is a 25% increase in a 5-year period. This data is now almost 5 years old as well. With recent trends in drug use and overdose deaths, these numbers are most likely continuing to trend upward. This does not account for the recent coronavirus global pandemic, which certainly affected quality of life and rates of drug and alcohol consumption. All right, so I'm going to give you guys a few little hints. One, there is one mistake that I did not cover that is a pretty technical, it's not a super big mistake, but it is definitely something that I, would say I have seen as a rule in academic writing in my educational experience. So if you guys can figure out what that is, you'll get like some bonus points. I will be really pleased if someone can figure out there's something that we didn't go over at all that is still technically an error in here. I'll give you a hint. It's with the numbers. That is all the hint that I'm going to give you. I'll tell you guys later what it actually is. The other thing, so like I said, this is a PDF. You guys are going to have to retype this. One trick, I just read that aloud, so hopefully that made it a little bit easier for you guys, because that is one thing that you can definitely do to make editing easier is read it aloud, especially with those verb tenses, sentence fragments, and the subject-verb agreement. It's really a lot easier to hear that verbally, especially if you struggle with editing, especially, I know personally after I've written a paper and been editing it, by the time I'm ready to turn it in, I just don't even want to look at it anymore. But reading it aloud or having someone read it aloud to you, those are both really great options to edit your stuff. And you guys can try that with this. I just read it to you. You guys can read it aloud to yourselves again, and just go back. So look for all of those errors, the punctuation, all of that. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, did I include the capitalization errors? I feel like I didn't. Oh yeah, no, I did. Okay, I see them, never mind. And then the one sentence that is out of place. And the last little hint or trick that I want to give you guys is if you were paying attention to last lesson on Wednesday, I gave you guys a copy of this somewhere that I had already edited, right? I was doing my rough draft, and I drafted my whole thing, and then I edited it before I added it to that assignment for you guys. So you guys have it in there if you want to go back and check what you have, right? So that is all that I have for today. So you guys can just work on that, and then just, like I said, type your copy and attach it to the assignment, like always. Thank you guys. Thank you for participating. And if you have any missing or outstanding assignments, please do that. Like I said, tomorrow we're going to look more at revision of the order, that kind of thing, more than this mechanic stuff that we focused on today. I will get that assignment posted for you, Stephanie. And I hope you guys have a good day. And I'm going to just let you guys work. I'm going to turn off my camera and my microphone, but I will be here if you guys have any questions and if you need any help with the editing assignment. All right.